and welcome to the daily newscast within the United Countries special by First Ukraine. You can find us at the frequencies available at our website, firsttoday.com. Taras Chechko is working for you in the studio. Thank you for joining us. Terrorists are shooting less in the ATO zone while reinforcing their bandit groups, the ATO administration reports. According to the headquarters, militants are mobilizing local teenagers and young people aged 16 to 18 years so that they fight on the side of self-proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic. The number of terrorist drones has increased in the Donbass. Today, border guards have accounted 19 cases of air intelligence. Watch the following story about the latest news from the ATO zone.
Positions of Ukrainian army are fired less, but single provocations do not stop. The commandment of ATO reports about this. So in Kharkiv, Ukrainian soldiers were fired with mortars and guns. Previous day, Donetsk airport was under the fire twice. It was made by Tramchuk and Stanitsa Lugansk settlements. Also, the sky intelligence of terrorists had become active, ATO headquarters reports. During the deployment of Ukrainian soldiers, they fired to find their new positions. Ukrainian border guards fixed the usage of 18 manless aircrafts in the area of settlement Sartana, Velika Novosilka, Krasnotalivka, and the administrative border between Kherson region and occupied Crimea. This video is from Debaltseve. Yesterday it was fired by mortars, but today it is quiet here. City is totally under the control of Ukrainian army. Locals tell that they had changed their attitude to ATO soldiers. For the first time, I also was afraid that they are fascists, but then later I have changed my mind somehow. For the previous day, there are no losses among Ukrainian soldiers. ATO commandment reports one man was injured. Volodymyr Karaban, Victoria Zabian, First Ukraine.
In Zaporizhzhia, the airport has renewed its operation, the only airfield near the ATO zone, which remained closed after the state air service allowed to fly to Dnipropetrovsk and Kharkiv. The ban on the work of 3 airfields had been lasting since the 13th of December. The security service explained there was the threat of missile attack by militants. There won't be flights from Zaporizhzhia airport today. The first 2 flights are scheduled for tomorrow, the airport press service reported. 1 airplane will fly to Kiev, another to Moscow. The parliament extended the powers of the National Security and Defense Council of Ukraine. 253 MPs voted for it. On Tuesday, there were not enough votes to adopt the law, and it was sent for a second consideration. According to the document, the competence of the National Security and Defense Council includes anti-corruption, public safety and fight against crime measures now. The NSDC may decide on strategic national interests, announcement of war, emergency state or mobilization, and to take urgent measures in crisis situations. The NSDC secretary, in between meetings, controls the implementation of the decisions. If the general headquarters is established, he organizes its work. Everyone will be able to become a policeman in Ukraine. As First Deputy of the Interior Minister Eka Zhuladze says, applicants will be selected at open competitions. The main condition is to be aged from 18 to 35 years old. All who pass the selection will go to police school. The one who can complete their studies will become a new policeman, the First Deputy Minister promises. According to her, except age, there will be other selection criteria, which, however, she did not name. The weakest aspects in the work of the Ministry of Internal Affairs are considered corruption and functions overlapping.
Corruption exists everywhere, and it will be in Ukraine also, but there will be a big difference. It will be a crime, and people who make it will go to prison. Of course, we will meet this resistance in and out of system, but it is not our task to win somebody's favor.
The night incident at the Metropolitan Hotel Kiev was called hooliganism by police. The unknown threw a grenade at the members of parliament. Among them was First Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Andriy Parubiy. Later on, he explained the incident on Facebook. He called it as frivolous. According to him, the unknown threw a grenade at their feet, but it rolled under the car and exploded. Nearby cars were damaged. the fugitive threw another grenade on police patrol. Experts who worked on the site are trying to find out what kind of grenades exploded, flashbang or RPG.
Policemen stalked the criminal, and when they got him, he threw a grenade to their feet. One policeman was injured, and now he's in hospital. Now we are trying to prove the identity of the detained person.
At the talks in Minsk, the sides agreed to exchange prisoners all in all. This was said by leader of self-proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic, Alexander Zakharchenko. The agreement on the exchange of prisoners was confirmed by spokeswoman of the Security Service of Ukraine, A.Lysenko. She noted that the Security Service is ready to implement the agreements. According to Zakharchenko, in the captivity of militants, there are 150 Ukrainian security forces officers. They will be exchanged for 225 people detained by Ukrainian law enforcement agencies. The official talks were held in Minsk yesterday. They were attended by Second President of Ukraine, Leonid Kuchma, Russian Ambassador to Ukraine, Mikhail Zurabov, representatives of the self-proclaimed republics, and the OSCE. Late at night, representatives left the venue without comments. On the continuation of the negotiations, only the self-proclaimed leader of the Donetsk People's Republic reported today. China can take the place of Russia in the future because, in fact, it is not a world power. This opinion was expressed by former European Commission President in an interview with German newspaper Welt am Sonntag. José Manuel Barroso believes Moscow has lost influence and barely integrated into the global economy. That will lead to a major crisis. How the Russian ruble gives ground to the Chinese currency, our correspondent will show you.
Near town Suifenhe, not far from Vladivostok. 9:30 in the morning, wealthy people go for shopping. Instead of rubles, they have yuans and dollars. A lot of goods you can buy only for these currencies. As earlier, we accept rubles, but people like prices in yuans more. Exchange stations work actively. I think it is a great risk to keep rubles now. Near border with Russia, towns massively cross over to yuans. Because of the ruble falling, Russians visit shops more rarely. Even New Year and Christmas could not increase sales. Locals also suffer from currency falling. In some cities of China, ruble had the same role as yuans. In the city Suifenhe, rubles have the same value as yuans since December 2013. To make the rest more convenient for Russian tourists, rubles were taken into electric shop, supermarkets, fuel shops, and even state drug stores. Foreign currency had become so popular that in several months it was in China's citizens' pockets. Enterprises made purchases in rubles, and now they overcome material losses. Before New Year, my shop had provided a lot of purchases. We account on Russian tourists, but it is a crisis in Russia and nobody come. Now I transferred prices to yuans and I am waiting for locals. Finance crisis in Russia was named by experts as the biggest one for the last quarter of the century. According to their words, ruble devaluates more than at all currencies of the world. Chinese businessmen who had contracts in rubles massively renew them in yuans or dollars. Anastasia Sinihovska, Victoria Zabian, First Ukraine.
Money underfoot. In Hong Kong, because of an accident, $4.5 million spilled from the collector car. Why it is not known yet. Bundles of notes were taken away by drivers and pedestrians. Police was preventing the theft. It managed to preserve 63 million. Law enforcement officials urged people to return the money, but there were not many people desirous to return the cash. It was the United Country newscast by First Ukraine. You can find more details at our website, first2.com. Taras Chechko was working for you in this